Before the world sang his songs, he was just a boy from a small village in Jamaica. Bob Marley turned struggle into music, and music into a voice for freedom. His rhythm crossed borders and generations. This is the story behind the legend. One brush stroke, one story. This is Nara Paint. Bob Marley was born in 1945 in a small rural village called 9 Mile, Jamaica. His life began far from fame, surrounded by green hills, dirt roads, and the quiet rhythm of countryside living. People knew each other by name, and music often came from church gatherings, village celebrations, and the simple melodies of everyday life. His mother, Shadella Booker, was a young Jamaican woman who raised him with strength and determination. His father, Norval Marley, was a white British naval officer who rarely stayed in his life. Bob grew up mostly without him, and that absence quietly shaped his childhood, leaving questions about identity and belonging. As a mixed-race child in a poor rural community, Bob often felt different from the others around him. Some people treated him kindly, while others reminded him that he did not fully fit into one world or another. Instead of pushing him away from his roots, this experience made him more observant, more thoughtful, and more sensitive to the struggles of people around him. When Bob was around 12 years old, his mother moved with him to Kingston, the capital city of Jamaica. The calm hills of 9 Mile suddenly gave way to crowded streets, noisy markets, and neighborhoods where poverty was impossible to ignore. They settled in Trenchtown, one of Kingston's most challenging communities. Yet inside this difficult environment, something powerful was beginning to grow. Trenchtown was full of young people carrying dreams, guitars, and rhythm. It was here that Bob Marley would begin discovering the music that would eventually carry his voice far beyond the island of Jamaica. Life in Trenchtown was not easy. Poverty was everywhere, and opportunities were limited. But the streets were alive with rhythm. Music drifted from small houses, radios, and street corners where young people gathered with guitars. For Bob Marley, these sounds were more than entertainment. They were a language of struggle, hope, and identity. It was in Trenchtown that Bob met two young men who would change his life: Neville Livingston, later known as Bunny Wailer, and the bold, outspoken Peter Tosh. The three shared the same dream: to use music as a way to speak about their reality. They spent countless hours practicing harmonies, writing lyrics, and imagining a future beyond the narrow streets around them. In the early 1960s, the group formed a band called the Wailers. Their music blended Jamaican ska rhythms with soulful melodies and lyrics that reflected the struggles of everyday people. Songs like Simmer Down began attracting attention on local radio. For the first time, the voices of Trenchtown were reaching audiences across Jamaica. But success did not arrive instantly. The Wailers faced financial struggles, disagreements, and the harsh reality of the music industry. Yet, Bob remained determined. He believed music could carry a message, one rooted in the growing influence of the Rastafarian movement, which spoke about freedom, spirituality, and resistance against oppression. Slowly, the sound that began in the streets of Kingston started evolving into something new, a rhythm the world would soon know as reggae. As the 1970s began, Bob Marley and the Wailers were no longer just musicians from Trenchtown. Their sound had grown into something powerful and unmistakable. Reggae was spreading beyond Jamaica, carrying messages of resistance, unity, and spiritual freedom. Bob Marley stood at the center of that movement, his voice becoming one of the most recognizable in the world. Songs like No Woman, No Cry, Get Up, Stand Up, and One Love turned reggae into a global language. The music spoke about injustice, hope, and the strength of ordinary people. Fans across continents felt the emotion in his voice, even if they did not share the same language or background. But Jamaica itself was facing deep political tension. Violence between rival political groups was rising, and the country was divided. Bob Marley believed music could bring people together. In 1976, he agreed to perform at a peace concert in Kingston, meant to calm the nation. Just 2 days before the concert, gunmen stormed Marley's home and shot him, his wife, and his manager. Miraculously, they survived. Many people expected him to cancel the performance. Instead, Bob Marley walked onto the stage anyway. When asked why he would perform after being shot, Marley gave a simple answer. The people who are trying to make this world worse never take a day off. How could he? In the late years of his life, Bob Marley faced a battle far more personal than politics or music. In 1977, doctors discovered a form of skin cancer beneath his toenail. At first, he continued performing, believing his mission through music was not finished. The stage remained his place of strength, even as his health quietly worsened. Despite the illness spreading, Marley refused to stop sharing his message. His songs continued to speak about unity, resistance, and spiritual freedom. To millions of people around the world, his music became more than entertainment. It became a voice for hope during difficult times. By 1980, the cancer had spread throughout his body. Yet even then, Bob Marley kept traveling and performing as long as he could. His final concert took place in Pittsburgh, where fans filled the arena, unaware it would be the last time they would see him on stage. On May 11, 1981, Bob Marley passed away at the age of 36. His life had been brief, but the message he carried through music had already crossed oceans and cultures. If you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe to support Nara Paint. One brush stroke, one story. This is Nara Paint.